Hey guys, it's Spaces Sims, and we are back with more Virche Evermore. God, I'm like, look, what are we, third part? And I'm like, what are we playing again? Good God. Anyway, so, right, we were in the middle of Lucas teaching all the kids shit about our little circular disc of a country. I'm just saying, come on, this is sus. So perfectly round. Anyway, now then, I've explained the basic mechanics involved in creating a reliver, as well as their importance. But that doesn't mean that everyone living in Arpachel is a reliver. There were roughly 3,000 living in Arpachel, but only half of the population were relivers. I'm sure this makes sense, especially since none of you are relivers, right?
Yeah, I've never had my memory backed up before.
That's because you're too poor, kid. Ooh! Starting off rough. Like, seriously, though, probably. Like, if you're living in the commoner district, I mean, I'm sure some people in the commoner district, like, we saw that dude and his girlfriend, right? But, like, this child is like, you ain't got the money for this, kid. You an orphan. You probably never will. And also, you live here with us, so you'll be lucky if you hit 10. Too soon? Too much? Listen, I gotta make jokes because I feel like this game's gonna get heavy and I'm gonna cry a lot. So, like, gotta make jokes where we can. Not sure about jokes about dead orphans are, like, really that great, guys. This is how I deal with stress and, like, okay, I cry when I'm stressed too, but, like, we're dealing with dark topics and I don't want to be sad about it, so gotta make jokes. Again, I got that from my dad. Blame my dad, okay? Anyway, Lucas nodded in acknowledgement. That's because children born from relivers are exactly who you are. Humans. Children born from relivers. Children born from relivers are exactly who you are. Humans. So that's interesting. Okay, because I mean, like, to be fair, it's like, it is a clone body, so it's like flesh and blood. It's not like I put you in a robot body. I know I said that, like, in one of the other parts. It was like, robot bodies, but I mean, like, okay. So, like, clone in this world is like a legit, it's you. It has your DNA and genetics and you can reproduce and shit. So, like, that makes sense. But, like, relivers, it's almost like relivers aren't human, but I guess they're a different category. Because it's like, there's a difference between you were born and then I just relived, you know. And the parents of our teacher, Monsieur Proust, were also relivers. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you are still human, no? Indeed. And Sister Salome here is a reliver who has revived a number of times. Look on his face right now. He's beautiful and also a little like shady, like, right, bitch. There's such like that, just like kind of like the like girl. I love it. But you see how beautiful he is? He's as pretty as our fucking nun. Like,
The mother looks just like a normal human. So can anyone tell if someone's a human or a reliver?
of course. It's difficult to tell right now since I'm wearing clothes that hide a certain symbol. That's pretty. But relivers have a unique mark on their skin for identification. Why we gotta identify the relivers? This sounds like, I don't know, like, why we wearing scarlet letters or like we branding Jewish people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why we gotta brand the relivers? What the fuck? Why that gotta be like, you know what I'm saying? That I feel like this is gonna come up and it's gonna be like, we're gonna be like, oh my god, what? Anyway, but it's pretty. Like, I mean, look, if you're gonna get branded, that's at least pretty. You know what I mean? It's something like a special tattoo that appears somewhere on the person's body. Oh, it doesn't always appear in the same place. Oh my god, please, 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 for the love of God, game. Please, tell me one of our boyfriends is a reliver and has this as a tramp stamp. I need that in my life. Somebody else was thinking it too. And now, if you weren't thinking about it, you are, and you're like, hell yeah, that'd be hilarious. In the midst of this dark game, we gotta have some levity, and having one of our hot boys have a tramp stamp is pretty fucking amazing. Let it be Cyan, because he looks like he just... Do you get it every time? So is it in a different spot every time? I mean, obviously, because you're using a new clone body. And then if you're on your second clone, do you have 2? Maybe I doubt that, but like, anyway. The mark's design is determined by the genes used when creating the clone body. Oh, so it's all different. Well, that's kind of cool. We all got our unique tramp stamps. I'm sorry, our reliver stamps. Sure, somebody's got it in the tramp stamp spot, though. You know it, and now every time you see a character that's a reliver, you're going to be wondering, where's yours? You know. Anyway, I like the fact that it's the level of detail here. Like, oh, we have a mark on our body, and it's not just like, oh, we got a giant brand on us. It's like it's pretty and it's unique to each person, depending on your genes and like where it goes. Like, woo. I don't know why I like that little tiny detail, but I do. Anyway, it's determined by the genes used. Okay. No 2 marks are the same, even when compared between siblings or relatives. They're always different in some way. She went on to mention that one's genes and chromosomes affected the design. That's neat. And that the Institute was able to use the double helix structure of one's DNA to produce a beautiful symbol. The wordy explanation made the kids sigh. Every reliver has a brand on them. That's like a tattoo, and it's unique to each individual person, and even siblings won't have the same design. Done. That's all you had to say. For the kids, but for us, I like the little extra detail. But, I mean, I think we still would understand it with the simple kid explanation. And now then, let me ask a question to a former student of mine who's now a senior here. Spacey, if you would. Oh my god, you used to teach me. We have the student-teacher relationship. That's hot. I touched briefly on the procedure required in order to become a reliver. Would you be so kind as to explain it in more detail? Okay, I know in the very beginning when I went through the characters, like, I don't know about Lucas because he's really almost too beautiful for me, but like when he looks like this with his beautiful like angel face, like, no, okay, I'm into it. All right. I'm sorry, Mathis is the only one I'm probably not into then, just because he's got the little adorable baby face, and I'm not into the adorable baby face characters, like, you know. All right, someone's going to be like, Vilio! Yeah, but, that doesn't really count. Okay, it does count. He's still not my favorite, but I still adore him, you know what I mean? And, like, Mathis's route could be absolutely great, so you never know. But, like, right off the bat, my initial is like, you're adorable, but you're adorable. I want to pat you on the head, send you off with a Pop-Tart or something to go watch cartoons in the other room. You know what I mean? Anyway. Hell, fuck, I'm going to do that too. Let's hang out, Mathis. We'll have Pop-Tarts while we watch cartoons. Anyway, let me see. After I make the rags, I should get to cleaning the halls and the storage room. Oh, she's totally not paying attention. I have a brand new broom, so I should be able to clean the place more easily now. I can't wait to put it to good use. I wish I enjoyed cleaning like a fraction as much as this bitch does. Oh, I also have to wash the children's clothes. They're pretty dirty after they played in the mud. As for tonight, I should ask Mother if there have been any other expenditures. I like how he asked her a question and she's like, wait, what? She's just still going on and on and on and on in her head about cleaning. Huh? As I was about to finish sewing a rag, I stopped for a moment, suddenly noticing everyone looking at me. I'm sorry, but are you talking to me? Yes, I certainly am. Lucas gave a friendly smile, expecting my response. You were listening to my lecture, no? Won't you assist me in helping explain the process to the children? I don't think we should talk about the birds and the bees right now. That's not what I meant. Well, understood, or Mother can explain it better. Okay, this is our first choice. Okay. Well, it's the common route, so we're going to answer understood each time. Okay, understood. I wasn't sure why he directed the question to me, but I didn't want to keep the lesson from progressing. Understood. I'm not sure if I can answer the question properly, but I'll try. Yes, please do your best. I dove deep into my memories to come up with the best answer I could. If I recall correctly, I believe you need an official pledge issued by the Institute to become a reliver.
Pledge?
Oh, imagine that someone's about to die, or maybe someone who's already dead. What if this person was revived as a reliver when they didn't want to be revived? That would be bad, right? It's like a DNA or DNR, do not resuscitate. Do not resuscitate. It is DNR. Do not relive. So there's a need to protect people from being forced into becoming a reliver by others, which is why a pledge is needed to confirm that the person wants to become a reliver. It's literally a DNR, absolute 100%. So in order for a person to become one, they have to state their intent at the institute and put their pledge into writing. Good. Pledge. Paperwork used to confirm one's commitment to becoming a reliver. This prevents abuse, such as forcing someone to become a reliver. Of course, there are a lot of other rules and restrictions that need to be followed, and I think you'll learn that some other time. Well done. A perfect explanation. If I may add, you also need to pay a good sum of money to become a reliver, so the written pledge acts as a contract as well. I breathed a sigh of relief at his words of approval. I mean, and so that confirms you absolutely have to have fucking money. I mean, I feel like that was a given. And we're going to be like, oh, if you want to be, anybody can, because what ifs? It's like, nah, money makes the world go round, bitch. You're not doing this for free. I would also assume it's probably a very costly procedure, but, in some fantasy games, they'd be like, oh, it's just something that happens. And if you don't want it, cool, but if you do, everybody automatically gets it because, to be fair, you could argue in your world building, like, oh no, you don't have to pay to do it because the researchers and people working at the institute are using this like to further knowledge and as like science experiments or whatever, like donating your body to science when you die. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, so they're doing this process for you, but they're learning about different things and they're enhancing the process and, learning science shit or whatever by doing this. So you could say that there's a benefit. Instead of paying for it, you're helping further scientific research. So that's the payoff type of a thing instead of money changing hands. But I mean, they could have gone that way, but let's be real. The honest thing is like, it costs money. Damn right it does. Anyway. Well, most of the people who live in Coen work hard every day to earn enough money to become relivers. Children all nodded in response. Could you imagine right now how fucking difficult it is to be like, I gotta bust my ass to earn money to fucking survive. And also to put aside for my next body to also barely fucking survive. Jesus. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I won't do this. Maybe I'll just let myself go. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, shit, existence is a struggle right now. With how much things cost. Could you imagine adding on, like, what is probably an exorbitant amount of money to just clone a body for you to go into, so you get to do it all again? But granted, these poor people die at 23, so, like, but, like, shit. They're all broke. Children all nodded in response.
So if everyone's working for the same thing, does that mean we all gotta be relivers one day? Do we have to...
Not at all. It's merely an option. Lucas quickly corrected the children as anxiety began to settle upon their minds. Right? These kids are already like, shit costs so fucking much, and then I gotta save money for this too? Jesus. It's true that the people of this country can escape the curse of death by becoming a reliver. But some actually refuse this option, instead choosing to live a fulfilling life within the typical expectancy of 23 years.
Really?
For some reason, the child turned and asked me instead of the teacher. I started out as if I was gonna, sounded like I was gonna laugh. Awkwardly. Good God. My voice is so fucking broken. I don't know what's wrong. Anyway, he's right. For example, the people who live beyond the sea live differently from us. They're able to live far beyond 23 years without becoming a reliver. I feel like we a science experiment. This feels like so much like that movie, The Island. It's like, it's a science experiment. We're a science experiment. Because, like, wouldn't we be like, so it sucks living here? Do we, like, pack up our shit and maybe get on a boat and leave? It's like, if this was the only land that ever existed, right? And there's no other realms or anything, you're like, I understand why we stuck with the shit, but you don't have to be Because there's other places you could go where you're not going to die. So, I mean, I guess to be fair, that's like, why do you live in Tornado Alley? You could just not. Why do you live on an earthquake fault line? You could just, I mean, but like, I feel like if the kingdom just pooled its resources and was like, let's build a bunch of boats, get everybody on, let's go. There's like, what did they say, 3,000 people? That's not that many. Get out. You're not moving millions. You know what I mean? Anyway, we wouldn't have a game then. It'd be like, we all left at the end. So. You've heard before that they can spend however many years they can until they have gray hairs. Wow. You've heard before that they can spend however many years they can until they have gray hair and wrinkles, right? Some people, when they turn 30. Again, anime logic. Some people really admire that. They see relivers as fake humans with fake bodies, so they don't care much about reviving. They try to live life to the fullest in their natural form as God intended, even if it's a short one. There are people out there with the courage to face death. So please remember that such people do exist in this country. And now listen carefully, everyone. I'll say it again. It is not your duty to become relivers. If you have any doubts about it, think long and hard, and feel free to discuss different options with those around you. Also, you could choose to become a reliver, do it, and then realize it's not for you, and then just not do it again. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, because I was like, I feel like the music was like, I think it's just the music, because it was like, and it just sounded like it was skipping or stunted. It might have just been the way. I hope the recording is going fine and we're not getting glitchy or weird. I think it was just the song itself. I don't think anything's... Okay, anyway. In a land cursed by death, how will you choose to live? Each of you must think for yourself what you want to do and what you want your future to be. Okay?
Okay.
Now then, why don't we turn to the next page? The information on this next aspect of reliving is quite important. Reviving is quite important. While the technology behind it's revolutionary, it's not without its faults. For example, apart from money, there's a high price to pay for a different form. Oops. Oh, well, look at the time. At the sound of the wall clock, Lucas closed his textbook. The next section's a rather long one, so let's continue it another day. Now then, thank you very much for your time and attention in studying with me.
Thank you very much.
Class was dismissed. Mother guided the children to the main room to play, rest, sleep, or lounge to their heart's content. Thank you for teaching the children such an important subject. In Mother's absence, I thanked Lucas for his service. And no, if anything, I should be the one thanking you. It was very helpful to have you available to answer questions on the spur of the moment. There are many bits of information to teach about relivers, so explaining it thoroughly takes a great deal of time. I need to resort to unconventional means to keep the children awake and keen on the subject during our lessons. I see. So that was to try to keep their attention. I have to say, you always look like you're having fun whenever you teach the children, regardless of the subject. Yes, it's as our beloved Almighty would wish. I'm only providing what little knowledge I have to assist the good children in pursuing the life best suited to them. I mean, that's nice right there. Like, assist children in pursuing the life best suited to them. Not what society tells you what feels right for you, sweetie. I believe teaching is my soul's vocation, given to me by God. Oh, we're so going to corrupt this book. Lucas clasped his hands together in appreciation as he spoke. He began visiting this orphanage several years before receiving his teaching credential issued by the Institute. Back then, Mother and another teacher taught me the very basics of education. I may have only learned from him once before, perhaps twice. On that basis, it was difficult to say that we knew each other well, but for some reason, Lucas didn't seem to concern himself with the rumors about me. Instead, he treated me as if I was one of his students, speaking to me in a friendly manner despite my lack of conversational skills. Suddenly, a certain memory flashed through my mind, likely in response to the class as well as my recent thoughts about the past. Come to think of it, Lucas, if I'm not mistaken, you're 22 this year, aren't you? If so, then, oh, she looks so sad. Yes, the time for me to make a decision is nearing. Or rather, I may not even have time to make my decision. Which meant that he still hadn't made preparations to become a reliver and overcome the curse of death. Lucas coughed slightly, no doubt from the effects of the curse. Like, it's just so like, I was just, the sleeve on his coat, I was like, what the hell's going on with his arm? His arm's underneath it, but it was just that little tendril of sleeve. I was like, sir? Like, because you can't, like, the way it's blocking his arm, that looks like his arm. And I'm like, God damn, you skinny arm. They're all wayfish and skinny and lanky, and I love it. But every so often he coughed like this. It was a reminder of the death that awaited him. Are you all right? Let me get some water. Maybe I should move away from you, too. No, don't worry. This coughing will go away if I just stay calm for a while. In addition, let me say that your presence does not negatively affect anyone's physical state whatsoever. See, all better. He forced himself to take a deep breath, then gave a gentle smile. But you're forcing yourself to look fine even though you're not, right? Perhaps, though I will say that I've gotten quite accustomed to living with the cough. So much that I can actually stop the coughing simply by taking a deep breath. See, it starts with your lungs and everything. It sounds like, I mean, you're like being poisoned. Is it the flowers poisoning the air? Let me come on. He went on to add that he was also taking medicine for his condition every day. That's amazing. I've never seen or heard of anyone able to suppress the side effects of the curse. The curse of death that haunted the country didn't strike exactly when a person turned 23 years old. It was rare to encounter people who actually lived to 23 while remaining healthy. Lucas working at 22 and Adolphe still being able to swing a sword at 21 were among the exceptional cases. The side effects from the curse were very similar to the nature of disease itself. Talented scientists at the Institute continued to conduct research day in and day out, but they hadn't been able to uncover the truth behind the curse of death. It's kind of because you wonder, like, okay, I'm going to go, now here's my body, we bring it to the Institute, you put your brain in, and then they keep your other dead body, and then they can use that as research. So, like, that should be part of my payment. Like, sure, I got to pay for this, but also, I'm donating my old body to you for science and research. Just saying. If he can turn himself into a reliver, then he could probably continue his work as a teacher, free from the suffering of the curse. For now. But while the technology behind it's revolutionary, it's not without its faults. For example, apart from money, there's a high price to pay for a different form. So if you wanted, so that does show that you could come back in a different body. Assuming he does become a reliver, what would happen if he lost his passion and love as a teacher for his students? Spacey, don't get all up in my face like this, you pretty bitch. Actually, please do, get closer. Noticing my silence, he spoke my name. I looked up and saw his beautiful face, giving me a reassuring smile to ease my troubled thoughts. He really does have a beautiful face, they ain't lying. Please don't worry about me. All I ask is that you make the right choice so that you have no regrets. Stay sound of body and mind, and be honest about what lies in your heart. This is the only thing I ask from my students as their teacher. Seriously, they gave him the most feminine face. The midnight air was filled with silence. Maybe the other ones also, it could just be like like his hair in combination with his beautiful feminine face. But a choice I won't regret. I sat on my bed as I pondered over the words Lucas told me before he left. He said it directly to me. It must be his way of showing concern since I'd be turning 20 soon, which was when most begin to show symptoms. Okay, so now we 19, 20-ish. He was telling me to think long and hard about whether I really wanted to become a reliver. Oh, that's Milo. That's okay, Milo's a douche. Just, He was the one, I don't want to eat her food. Ugh. That's what you get, you little twat. Oh my god, that's so mean, guys. I heard coughing from behind the wall. I recognized it as from Milo, the second oldest living here. It kind of sucks because the poor kid's only 13. Could you imagine the times where you cough because you're like, oh, I just got a dry spot in my throat, and you just cough, and everyone's like, oh my god, you're dying, and you're like, dude, it's just I inhaled dust. I just like breathed in my water, like. But it's got to be like, if the first signs of you dying is coughing, and then you like drink your water raw or anything, and you just get a cough, you're like, oh my god, I'm dying. I'm like, right now, me just breathing in like that made me cough. I'm not dying. It's okay. Listen, I've far surpassed 23, so like I'm a medical marvel in this universe. Is all I'm saying. Unable to hold back, I quietly exited my room and went to the shared room where Milo slept. Noticing the door slightly ajar, I slowly took a peek inside.
Mother, it hurts. I can't breathe.
Milo was feverish as he panted heavily between pain coughs. Mother was doing her best to care for him as the other children looked on with anxiety. This is kind of sad because, like, he has a name, even if he was a little douche. In a way, you can't blame him because, first of all, the 13-year-old. Like, most of us were a little bit of a dick in our tween/teen years, okay? Plus, like, he thinks I kill people, so, like, you can't really blame the kid for being like, I want to eat what she's fucking making. It's probably poison. You can't really blame the kid, Still a dick, but, But then it's like, well, this doesn't help that he got sick and we just fed him earlier and, like, well, shit, now we killed it. And she's going to think she killed him. Although, to be fair, if most people hit around 20, then, I mean, maybe we did. I don't know.
Damn it. I knew I shouldn't have come here. I bet Death is the one who cursed me because I treat her bad.
Well, right there. Be nice. Don't be a dick. I don't think she cursed you. I mean, you know what I mean? But it's like, if all of a sudden now when you're sick, you're thinking, I got cursed because I was a dick, maybe don't be a dick. There is a lesson in this.
Well, that, just like me, people are the places where she went.
The people at the places where she went
got sick, had accidents. Both kids and grown-ups died really fast, or their time was even up. Fire. She must have started it. Magic or something.
I was feeling bad for a second for feeling bad about being like, good, the kid's a dick. Not good that he's dying, but like, I don't feel bad that you're sick because you're a douche. But like, and then I was like, no, that's really wrong. Poor kid. I mean, I understand. And now I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm back to being like, you're kind of a dick. I don't really feel that bad. On one hand, I feel bad because he's just a child. You know what I mean? Even if he's a 13-year-old child, he's still a fucking child. But on the other hand, I'm like, I don't feel as bad as I should because you're kind of a douche. Like, you know what I mean?
That's not true, Milo. She would never do such a thing. Just so happens that she was around those who were physically strong. That fire was just a coincidence, too.
I mean, it's an awful lot of coincidence, Salome. Come on.
Why have I been like this ever since she got here?
It's just your time, you little douche.
Never happened to me before my mom and dad died. Before I came here.
That's... Seeing Milo suffer like this, Mother was unable to say much more. I wasn't sure what to do myself, either. The best I could do was move as far away as possible since I had caused his suffering. See, she's blaming herself, but it's like, on one hand, I feel like the game's trying to be like, it's basically your fault because your death and like, this bad shit does follow you. But on the other hand, you're not always responsible for everything because Milo could have it's just your time, kid. People don't live to 23, but that doesn't mean you have to live to 20. You know what I mean? But, to be fair, it probably is her fault. Like, I should go outside until he recovers. I quietly got dressed and walked out into the crisp night air. My trek took me to the country's edge. Since it wasn't very large, one could walk from one side to the other in the span of a day. It didn't take long for me to arrive at the nearest beach from the district where I lived. I looked far into the dark blue horizon. The sound of waves from the unknown lands beyond echoed in my ears. I gazed at the open field of black licorice, not licorice. I'm going to keep saying that because I said licorice sounds kind of just gross in my ears, and then my brain keeps wanting to say it. It's like, did you hate that? How about we say it? Ugh. Yeah. It sounds icky in my ears, and it makes me just feel gross. I know, like, licorice. But there's something about licorice that just... No. Stop. Why would you say that? Does it make you just... You're like, no, I don't like it. It's like saying something slaps. No, I don't like it. I can say I'm going to slap someone, but if I say, oh, this slaps, oh, I don't like it, it just makes me feel physically weird. If other people say it, I'm like, no, I don't like that. But it's worse when I say it, so I can't even imagine. Licorice. Licorice is better. It's less offensive. Spread out before me. The licorice is spelled with an I, not a Y, but you know what I mean? Like, anyway, as I reached out, slowly and gently, my fingers softly brushed against a flower with black petals and a dash of red. Signs stood nearby. Those who wish to avoid death, keep away from the flowers of misfortune. Do not touch the licorice noirge, whatever. The warning was stated boldly, along with the king's faded signature. What a shame. They may be a little dark in color, but up close, they're so pretty. See, here's the thing. It's like, don't touch the death flowers. Maybe the flowers are why there's a curse. Maybe it's time to make the flowers go extinct. You think? Did you think setting them on fire, maybe? I feel like that would be bad because then the, like, smoke from those burning death flowers would make your lungs worse. But I'm just saying, I feel like there's a connection here, and maybe we shouldn't just stay on an island that's surrounded by death flowers. Maybe we should get rid of the death flowers. Maybe we should start there? You think? They're like, we tried to light them on fire, but they're immune to fire. I mean, I don't know, like maybe, but like it just seems like maybe the people on this island aren't as smart as they want to think they are. If like death flower, then maybe this is. Did you think this problem? Maybe. And maybe they have, and we just haven't heard all that yet. But this is my first like, hello, get rid of these. Hey, I know this scene. This is where we stabbed ourselves in the throat. The black licorices. Though there were no official records, they were said to exist hundreds of years ago. They grew like a wall around the island with their flowers in bloom throughout the year. See, I mean, come on, they don't even die in winter. The black licorice was essentially the symbol of this country, and yet hardly anyone went near them to appreciate their beauty. That was because they were the flowers of misfortune and death. That was what these beautiful licorices were known as by the masses. As the name implied, wherever someone tried to pick these flowers or remove them from the great expanse of the licorice field, for some unexplainable reason, it hastened the curse of death that we all harbored within our bodies. Okay, that's a good reason. Hey, if you pick one of these, it stabs you to death. So, like, trying to raise the fucking earth that these things are in is gonna make it worse. Alright, okay. That makes some explanation. And so I guess picking one to do a science experiment on isn't really gonna work all that well, huh? I'm just saying. There were cases where some even perished the moment they picked the first flower. The flowers were as abhorred as I was for their connection to death. At home with my little death flower children. Well, it was a strange thought to have. That was the very reason why the field of licorice flowers felt very close to me. Licorice noirge. I'm just going to go with noirge. I don't know. Sounds fancier. Also known as the flowers of misfortune. Black licorices surround Arpachel's border and remain in bloom all year. Touching or removing these flowers will accelerate the effects of the curse of death, which has led to their being reviled by the people. Yeah, okay. So you can't cut, you can't even touch them. So like, I guess that answers that question. Like, didn't you think that these are? Yeah, but if you pick one because you want to research it, dead. You touch it, dead. So like, what are we gonna do? Can't really, you know what I mean? It makes it really hard to experiment and research if you can't touch them. All right, that's that answer. Feels kind of like a bullshit answer, you know what I mean? But like, to be fair to the game, well, yeah, if we could pick the flower and research the flower, then we would have come up with an answer. We wouldn't all be sitting here just waiting to drop dead, and we would have figured it out. So to make that make sense, it's you can't touch the flowers or pick them because it accelerates death, sometimes even instantly. So everyone's like, let's not. All right, I'll take it. You thought of it. All right. You thought of like what exactly I'm sure we were all thinking, not just me. Pretty sure these are the flowers. And like, this is the cause. They're like, yeah, but here's why we don't research them because people are going to die instantly. Well, right? You're like, okay, sure. Yeah. Hey, listen. Listen, it works, okay? We were too similar for me to feel any fear toward them. That's why she touched one. Most of all, there was never anyone around. It was the perfect place to sit in silence. I hope Milo is okay. I wanted to go inside the room and take care of him. I wanted to tell him that I was sorry, but I knew that going near him would only worsen his condition. And like, if she did she gently touch a flower? Is that what it said? Let me go back. No official records. Like, I'm going to go back. Softly brushed against a flower with black petals. My fingers softly brushed against the flower. And it said touching them can cause misfortune and death and everything like that. So, I mean, to be fair, not necessarily. Someone could touch one and be okay. And like, whatever. And we're quote unquote death, so we can probably touch them. But that was my point. A normal person could touch them and then it makes their illness worse. So obviously the flowers are connected. She touched them and it really doesn't do anything to her. So like, are we just like, whatever is popping out of these flower, we have in us too somehow? We a science experiment. I don't know. I'm just saying. Anyway, which is why I was given a room for myself so that I wouldn't be too close to the others. Also, I'm not really a child in the orphanage. I kind of work here, so I should have my own room. You know what I mean? I didn't spend much time with the children apart from meal times or when I worked on chores around the orphanage. I never went near any sources of fire or other such places where no one was around, when no one was around. Perhaps my efforts were being rewarded. So far, there had been no deaths. I would even say the effects of the curse were eased. While some still showed symptoms, they were of mild nature. Mother cared for them to avoid things taking a turn for the worse. I must have let my guard down this time. Nah, maybe the flowers are like, this kid's a dick. You don't know. Now that I think about it, I'm so reliant on others. Without Mother, who knew how many casualties could have occurred because of my presence? The misfortune I brought upon others was no different from the curse of death, in that none of us fully understood it. But unlike the curse of death, my presence brought with it disasters that occurred randomly and without warning. If someone were to die because of me and they weren't contracted with the Institute, they wouldn't be able to revive as a reliver. Because of that, I understood why Milo and the others were afraid of me to the point of hatred. Especially because they're children and they haven't decided, they also don't have the money, they don't have a choice in becoming relivers yet. You know what I mean? And they haven't made that decision and then they die before they can. So, like, I mean, okay. Still doesn't make Milo not a dick, but again, I can understand why he's a dick, because he's afraid. Oh. Relivers. It was only this afternoon that Lucas spoke about the idea with me, but I had no intention of becoming a reliver. Without a doubt, I would be the rebirth of the same soul of death that had cursed this place. It was death itself. I doubted that my powers of misfortune would disappear just because I changed my physical body. For now, for a little longer, until I die from death's curse, pray pray that I can stay under Mother's protection, the place Adolphe calls home. I pray that I can live in that warm and kind facility until the very end. I didn't care if my soul would be judged down in Hades after I died, as I prayed to the unseen God that Lucas said resided in the heavens above. Oh, are those the Lycoris petals? A strong gale blew from the ocean. The wind whipped up the countless black and red petals around me. The slight red glow in the fearsome jet black petals was bewitching and beautiful. I was captivated by the storm of flowers for a moment before I noticed. Eve, there he is. He's touching them. In the middle of the Lycoris field stood a young man wearing half a mask. He lovingly caressed the Lycoris flowers that everyone so feared. I could see tears flowing silently from his uncovered eye. I have to remember, I don't remember the voice I was going to give him. Oh, we were going to give him the fun Irish accent. I say that, but whatever that accent is, we were going to give him that one, I think. Yeah, because Anko seems like because he was giving me Undertaker from Black Butler vibes, so I figure he should have a little crazy in his voice. Just a little fun. Just a little twisted. Because originally I was going to give him the Irish accent, but we're giving it to Eve here. Okay, got it. Okay. The moonlight faintly illuminated his hair and the lycorises around him. As the petals danced upon the wind, the young man turned to the rest of the flowers of death that stood silently. I love you. Oh! He said it to the flowers, but I take it as he had said it to me. He spoke in a compassionate voice. This is interesting. I mean, he's touching them, so he's fine. So I feel like, okay, we know that, I feel like we know that he's the one as a child that rescued us from the fire because it was burning his face, and that's why he's got a mask. Okay. I would make a guess then that he's probably the one in the very beginning when we tried to stab ourselves in the throat that tried to stop us. Because he can touch these flowers. And I thought in the synopsis says the Watchman of Death, so that would be you. I would guess. I mean, because, that seems like a good parallel. One, you're touching these flowers, so obviously somehow you're not impacted here. Or you just don't care. You rescued me as a child from the fire. You know what I mean? Like, that seems like something the quote-unquote Watchman of Death would do, so... It was a hauntingly beautiful sight. The idea that someone other than myself could love these Lycoris flowers transfixed me. He's lovely with his lovely little mask. Perhaps noticing my presence, the young man turned around and looked straight at me. He doesn't quite seem like he would have the accent, but like, look, guys, I only have so many voices. Ew. Are you? Look at his little shock face. It's adorable. My body froze. I immediately realized how rude it was of me to stare at someone crying. I'm sorry. Wait. I quickly apologized and fled the scene as fast as I could. He's probably like, are you... She's thinking he's going, are you staring at me? Look at his outfit. All the characters in this game are ridiculously beautiful and they have the best clothes. Like, I love it. I love flair. Like, don't just put t-shirts and jeans. Like, put this much flair. Like, all the belts and buckles and shit. Like, this took a while to put on in the morning, but I'm here for it. I'm here for the full 40 minutes it probably took to put this on. Yeah, he's gonna be like, are you, like, spacey? Like, you know what I mean? And she's like, he's thinking, asking, are you staring at me? And that's why it's cute. Anyway. Bird. He stretches sometimes when he's sitting with me, and that means his whole head is jammed into my esophagus. There she goes. Of all times to be seen like this. That beautiful golden hair. Could she be the same girl from 7 years ago? I ran from the masked man, making my way back to the commoner's district. As luck would have it, no one was around. My sudden appearance didn't seem to cause a commotion. I must have taken the road that led back to the orphanage without realizing it. I had to get away from there, but was it just me, or was that masked person just as startled as I was? We don't know each other, so he must have been surprised to see me watching him cry. Or perhaps he knew through rumors that I was the Reaper that everyone despised. Still, I hadn't seen any fear in his eyes, only astonishment. What a strange person. The thing that left a strong impression was the delicate mask that covered half of his face. Huh. That part of his face he was covering. She's remembering that boy. There you go. His face. And it's so funny because, like, him crying and the thing, he's holding out his right hand, like, to pull her in, and then they hear he's holding out his right hand, letting the petals go. The color of his hair. She suddenly gasped. It can't be. Is he the same person from before? I like that they kind of recognized each other. My face went pale with memories flooding into my mind when the sound of dripping water brought me back to reality. What should have been a faint sound grew until it rang in my ears. It seemed to come from the dim alley that extended from the road. There, I heard it again. Should I be concerned it's not water but blood? It's not raining, is it? I mumbled the words to myself in an effort to regain my composure. Maybe someone must have forgotten to shut off one of the communal well pumps shared by the surrounding houses. If so, the water might flood the area around the well by morning, which would cause some trouble to those living here. Like if she's like, oh, someone must have forgotten to turn off a tap. I should go. No, it's blood, girl. I thought about it for a moment. Even if I am deaf, touching the pump won't cause it to explode, will it? I decided to head into the alley to at least confirm where the dripping was coming from. I walked through the darkness. Yeah, okay. Well, you see the flash of red and you see the blood everywhere. I could hear the water. It's not water. No. I hear something much heavier dripping that created damp layers of sound. I continued through the winding alley until I finally came upon an open area. The smell of iron filled the air as I felt wet droplets hitting me. Huh? And now we're covered in blood. I gazed in a stupor at the sight before my eyes. It was different from vivid flames or licorice. Everything was covered in a dull red. This feels like someone's getting murdered. On the ground was a pile of bodies. As I looked on, bewildered at the scene, two shadowy figures staggered toward me. The last of the two crumbled into the pool of blood at my feet. This is like a murder scene. I mean, seriously, Jesus, the blood everywhere. But, I slowly sunk to the ground at the scene unfolding in front of me. Looking forward, I saw the pool of blood and bodies lying on the ground. My eyes met those of one of the bodies. No. We did not do this. She's going to blame herself. Because I think in the scene where she stabs herself in the throat, she's thinking, when she thinks about the alley, she's thinking about this. But, like, this is not our fault. We weren't even here. We just heard the sound and came. This was happening long before we got here. No! I can't scream that loud. I don't know who's saying Spacey. It's probably Adolphe. Yeah. I felt someone's body warmth surround me and pulling me in close. Are you all right? Why are you screaming? Adolphe? I had to know. You knew it was him. Brother I grew up with at the orphanage. I thought he was supposed to return tomorrow night. Why was he here? Were you murdering these people? At the moment, I was sure he had even more questions than I did. Listen. You're part of that last route where two love interests are in that same route. Are we getting a man harem in that? Are we in a throuple? Are we going to be in between two? But are we in a man sandwich? Because I'm just saying. Maybe there's branching paths in that one. I don't know. But you're in that. So, you could be the person that I fully expected to see Anko here or something. Be like, see, he's crazy. He was stabbing people. I don't know. Somebody was murdering these people. And now you're here. Do you doing it? Was it you? I don't care. I still love you. You're hot. Anyway. At the moment, I was sure he had even more questions than I did. After confirming my safety, he looked around to discover the horror of the situation. Spacey, what happened here? happened? He was asking me? Who? What? I was deaf. People here. What did I do to them? Nothing, girl. No! I didn't do anything! I really didn't do anything! I just happened to see this! But I didn't curse anyone here at all! I didn't do anything, but My body and my voice shook. But I'm here! Why do we keep cursing people and killing them? You aren't... Adolphe's angry voice stopped me from speaking any further. Seeing me shrink back and lower my head, Adolphe stopped too. I'm sorry. It was my fault for asking. Adolphe let out a heavy sigh, giving my back a reassuring rub. You know what I mean, though. You really didn't do anything. You don't have any special powers to curse people. You're just an ordinary girl. My little sister who's got the worst timing and the worst luck. I love him for this. In fact, I'm starting to think we should visit a church and pick up a crucifix for you to ward off all this bad luck. Time and time again, every time anyone said I was deaf, I heard the same familiar voice. A voice that was sometimes brisk, but one that always tried to calm me down. The kind and caring voice of Adolphe. It was because of him that I could regain my sense of calm and breathing. But in contrast... What the hell? Look at all this blood! Damn it, it's like there's been a mass murder! Hearing my screams, a large crowd of people began to gather, and then they're going to see me, and then, yeah, okay. Hey, look! It's that girl that everyone says is death! She really killed all these people by herself? Oh, he looks like he's going to cut a bitch right now. There was something about this expression is slightly almost puppet-like, too. It's like, I'm a puppet that's going to hurt people. Just don't give me that look. It's slightly creepy. Like, I love him. He's gorgeous, but there's something about this that I'm just like, he's going to snap. Hey, you! You're the leader of the Corps, right? Hurry up and arrest the Reaper! No matter how you look at it, it's her fault. Hurry up and throw her in jail. Shut up. He's so fucking... Adolphe's glare of contempt stopped the crowd's accusations in an instant. None of you even bother to lay a hand on the dead here, nor grieve for them. And yet the first thing you're so eager to do is blame a young woman? Oh my god. His disappointed pose, I love it. It's disappointing to see that the nature of humans hasn't changed. Adolphe slowly took my arm and brought me to my feet. He wiped the blood off my cheek with his sleeve. Don't mind them. Let's head back to the orphanage. Our mother is probably worried sick. Adolphe acted as my support as we walked out of the alley, but... damn it! That's my son and his girlfriend! Just when they finally got together, too! The sorrow and anger I could hear behind me pierced my heart. We just happened to be in the wrong... He's not wrong. I feel like in that case, we happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Somebody else killed these people. Tonight, this mass murder sent a wave of shock through the district similarly to the fire from before. Until now, most residents simply avoided me out of fear and their hatred of death, but tonight only made things worse. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that, because, like, okay, everyone else getting sick a little too early, okay, whatever, but this really seems like, did someone set us up, or, like, was it really just an accident of wrong time, wrong place? Like, who actually killed these people? Because I don't think it was me because I quote-unquote am deaf, you know what I mean? Where, like, Milo, you could be like, okay, there's something with us, if that's, not bullshit. If she really does enhance the curse or accentuate the curse in some way, Milo being sick like this could be an effect of us being near him. You know what I mean? Similar to, like, I touched the flower or I picked it and that accelerated the curse, right? So we could be accelerating it, sure. The fire could have just been accident, coincidence. Somebody else could have set it, knowing that we're going to, and then everybody blames us. You know what I mean? It could have been a fucking arson and we had nothing to do with it, whatever our magic curse power is. Like, it's either we have a magic curse power or we don't. But even if we have for legit a magic curse power and it's not just weird coincidences, it's still possible that all these people were murdered by someone else. We were in the wrong place at the wrong time. The fire was set by someone, and it's like, yeah, well, they'll blame it on her. You know what I mean? Those could have been perpetrated by someone else, and we took the blame, even if we do have magic curse powers. Or we could absolutely not have a magic curse power at all, and somehow we're just at the wrong time, wrong place, wrong time all the time. I feel like it'd be really hard to write and be like, actually, she never had magic curse powers, and all of these weird coincidences were orchestrated or just coincidences. That seems far fetched. But I'm still on the like, even if we like that, I don't know, this mass murder and the fire could have been kind of separate incidences that they knew that, you know, oh, hey, we just happened to stumble on this murder scene and like, oh, well, that worked. Like, it, you know what I mean? Like, everyone would have blamed me even if I wasn't anywhere around. You know what I mean? And then the fire, who knows? But I don't believe every instance of everyone dying that we've ever looked at is legitimately our fault. Okay. I'm going to go with we have a magic death power because we don't know otherwise. You know what I mean? That's what the game's telling us. So we got to go with that for now and be like, okay, we might find out later it's not true, or we might start seeing signs that it's not true. But for now, we got to go with the game told us this, so that's the fact that I'm going with. But the murder scene and the fire, I'm still on the like, those could have just been weird coincidences or setups. Frame jobs, I tell ya! You know what I mean? But anyway, we're a little under time, but this is a good place to stop. So I am going to stop here and we will continue this next time. I'm actually having a good time. So far, like, yeah, it's a little heavy and dark, but it's not too bad. You're like, okay, there's murder, people are being murdered and whatever. It's not too bad. But it's also because it's random people we don't know, or like Milo's coffin, but like, you could be like, I could take myself out and be like, well, the kid was a dick. Sure, it sucks he's a kid, but like, he's also a dick. So like, I won't, you know what I mean? Like, I can shut that down. But like, it's gonna come heavier with our love interest and all this shit, and there all these other things that are gonna come up. Like, this is just the beginning, and I feel like it's lulling me into a false sense of security. Like, see, I mean, this is heavy, and like the game's a little dark, but it's okay. It's cool. It's like murky gray. It's fine. It's okay. And then all of a sudden, it's gonna be like, "Fuck you! You thought I was playing," and then it's gonna get really heavy, and then it's just gonna get traumatic. So, you know. It's going to be a roller coaster. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.